Donald Trump insists that he doesn't have dementia at the same speech at which he tells the crowd to vote on the wrong date and otherwise sounds and looks absolutely terrible. This is a speech Trump gave in Waterford Township, Michigan over the weekend. This was after getting booed almost off the stage at SneakerCon, which I will get to in a moment. This is after a multi-$100 million verdict against Trump for fraud in New York. Here is Trump once again arguing it's definitely not dementia when I get confused about who is president.
Barack Hussein, remember Rush? He used to shout, Barack Hussein Obama. And I'll say, because a lot of people think he's still the president. A lot of people think he's really running Biden. He's got a lot of his people in there. So I'll say, you're President Barack Hussein Obama. And they'll say the next day, Donald Trump didn't know who the president of our country is. He thought it was Barack Hussein.
He regularly gets wrong the leaders of other countries. He regularly gets wrong the president of this country. And then Trump getting the election day wrong. This is maybe the funniest moment of Trump's Waterford Township, Michigan speech. He fires everybody up, tells them all the reasons why they need to vote for him, and then tells them to vote almost in December. This is just the best.
We need you to get out and vote to set the stage for November.
Right.
Go vote. November 27th.
There you go. Go and vote on November 27th. Now, it's of course completely unclear what Trump was talking about. The Michigan primary is in February, not in November. The general election is at the beginning of November, not November 27th. But listen, I'm not going to get in the way of this. As I've said before, I don't believe in winning elections by confusing your adversaries as to when the election day is. I don't believe in doing that. But if they're doing it, by all means, I mean, listen, Trump's telling Michigan Republicans, wait until November 27th to vote. Wait until November 27th to vote. I'm not going to get in the way of that. Donald Trump continuing to shoot himself in the foot. Ballistic podiatry, I think was the term that Ron DeSantis used, saying mail-in voting is corrupt.
Mail-in voting is totally corrupt. Get that through your head. It has to be.
Don't do it. Listen, again, I am not one who is going to try to win elections. I don't believe that the way the left should win is by lying to people about when election day is and lying to people that if they vote by mail, their vote isn't going to be counted. I don't believe either of those things are good moral strategy. It's not the high road. But once again, if Trump is telling his followers, don't vote by mail, and so some of them, either due to work schedules or medical conditions or being out of state, won't be able to vote in person, and therefore they won't vote at all, thanks to Trump, by all means, go ahead and tell him that. I won't get in the way. And Trump really is damaging himself here, because at this point, mail-in voting and voting absentee is such a normal part of elections in the vast majority of states. If you're telling your followers, don't participate in that, don't use that as a mechanism for voting. And Democrats have no problem doing it because obviously there is no problem with it. He's hurting himself and himself alone, and I absolutely love it. Here is Trump saying that they call him a whale.
A whale. They call me a whale. I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know if they meant a whale from the standpoint of being a little heavy or a whale because I got a lot of money. But I think they meant the second. But he's a whale of a client. We love him. He's a whale of a client, one of the strongest personal balance sheets that they've ever seen. And he was actually very overqualified for the loan. I didn't even need this loan.
All right. So Trump arguing, of course, that everything he did with the fraud he committed, for which he has been fined hundreds of millions, was completely fine and on the up and up. And then lastly, another classic Trump glitch. Trump seems to think that the word indicted is an N word. Of course, indicted has an N sound at the beginning, but the first letter in indicted is I. Trump glitching once again.
Right now. But they think they are. They think they're tough. But a lot of them come to me and they'll say, how do you do it? You go through all these subpoenas. You got indicted. Now, in my whole life, I didn't know what the N-word, I didn't know what indictment meant. You got indicted.
I didn't know what the N-word was growing up. Somehow I find that a little bit difficult to believe. So Trump confused and disoriented at Waterford Township, Michigan, telling voters to vote long after the election will be over. And as I've said before, if they want to say this stuff, by all means, have at it. Not the way I think the left should win elections, by lying to voters, confusing them, all this sort of thing. But if Trump's doing it to his own people, by all means, I'm not going to get in the way. After the break, Trump at SneakerCon, almost getting booed off the stage, really ugly, wild stuff. And then we're going to hear from Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley now says she would pardon Trump if she were president. And so once again, oh, she's more sane. She is more sane. Oh, she's morally more principled. She's more morally principled. But when it comes down to it, she'll pardon Trump just like the rest of them. Let's take a very quick break and be right back. Many people have the goal of getting in shape in 2024. Our sponsor, PhD Weight Loss, will help you make it happen. PhD Weight Loss was founded by licensed and registered dietitian, Dr. Ashley Lucas. It's not a crazy diet. It's not pills. It's not injections. It's an approach that I find very reasonable because PhD Weight Loss understands weight gain isn't your fault. It's not a personality flaw. You're not lacking willpower. It can be quite complicated, in fact. PhD Weight Loss focuses on behavioral change, nutrition education, and it takes an overarching sort of holistic approach to body and to habits. There are no severe calorie restrictions. There are no medications. There's no chronic, unsustainable exercise program. Their program is about healthy eating, customized meal plan, one-on-one coaching for a more personal experience. The founder, Dr. Lucas, is offering a free workshop just for my audience on February 29th at 3 p.m. Eastern, where you can learn more about PhD weight loss, why weight gain isn't your fault, evidence-based approaches you can implement on your own right away to improve your health. Sign up for the free workshop at davidpakman.com/PhD. They've helped over 7,500 people drop weight. You could be next. The link is down below.